Hello, friends. This is Mr. Matt. Welcome back to Sunday School. Now, I know it's a little different because we're not all together, but it is still the start of a new Sunday School year. It's still a chance for us to jump in and learn different parts of the Bible, to learn what it says for us and how it helps us to be better Christians. So I'm really excited that we get to have this time together. Now, in the month of September, we're going to be studying one of the best known and best loved stories that's in the Bible. In fact, this story is a big part of our children's chapel space because the story is depicted in the stained glass that we have in the children's chapel. Now, if you think about it, do you remember what that stained glass in the children's chapel is of? That's right. Some of you got it. It's the stained glass lays out the story of Noah and the ark. It's a great story and one that a lot of people really love. But it looks like a couple of you out there might be a little confused. Maybe you've heard a little bit of the story, but maybe you don't know the whole story. Well, it's important before we start anything else to make sure that everybody knows the basic parts of the story of Noah and the ark. So let me tell it to you. In the very, very, very early days of the earth, God looked down on his creation, and what he saw really made him sad and disappointed. Because he looked and he saw all of those things that started out being so good in creation weren't so much anymore. The people that God had created, as they had had babies and the families had grown, instead of remembering God and remembering the good things of the world, those people had focused on evil things and bad things. They were terrible to one another. They were selfish in all that they did. And the Bible tells us that their hearts were just focused on doing evil things all of the time. And that was not what God intended when God created the world. And so God made a decision, and he said, I am going to get rid of all of this. I'm going to get rid of all of the people, all of the animals, and get rid of everything that has become evil because I just can't see it. I can't stand that this is the way it is. Now, as he was thinking about this, he did look and he did see a man named Noah. And Noah was described in the Bible as being a righteous man, being a good man, someone that lived the right way. And God said to Noah, Noah, you're a righteous man. I have a special job for you to do. See, the world, all these people, they've become wicked in my sight, and I am going to flood the earth. So I'm not going to, because you are a righteous man, I'm going to save you, and I'm going to save your wife and your 3 sons and their wives. And I have a plan for saving the animals as well. But before we get to that, I need you to build an ark. I need you to build this large boat. And I want you to build it out of cypress wood. And I want you to, when it's all put together, I want you to coat it inside and outside with pitch. And pitch is something that you can put onto a wooden boat to help make it watertight, to keep the water out and keep it from going between the boards. And I want you to build it 300 cubits long and 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits tall. Oh, you don't know what a cubit is? Well, a cubit is a way that they used to do measuring. And a cubit was the distance, if you hold up your arm, distance is from your elbow to your fingertip. That's a cubit. Now, trying to put that into terms that we might understand, it was about 480 feet long, or about 1.5 football fields long. And it was about 80 feet wide, and it was about 50 feet tall, sort of, I think, 4-story building tall. So God also said, when you build this boat, I need you to build a sort of a cabin on top for yourselves. I need you to put a door in the side, and I'd like for it to be 3 stories tall. Or, excuse me, have 3 decks inside. Once you get it built, I want you to go out and gather 2 of every kind of animal. Every kind of bird, every kind of animal that walks on the earth, every kind of animal that slithers on the earth. I want you to get 1 male and 1 female of them, and I want you to bring them and put them on the ark. I also want you to gather up food of all kinds to feed you and to feed the animals while you're on the ark. I know it's a big job, but Noah, I am with you. I'm trusting you to do this. So that's what Noah did. Noah went out and he built the ark as God specified to him with the measurements. And he went out and found the animals, and he brought 2 of every kind of animal onto the ark. He also brought a few extra animals for eating and for offering sacrifices and those kinds of things. So when all of the animals were gathered, they closed the door to the ark, and God sealed them in. And then 7 days later, the rain started. And it poured rain, torrential rains, like we have when we have really big storms and it's raining so hard you can hardly see across the street. That kind of rain for 40 days and 40 nights. And the waters of the earth also came up out of the water and flooded the earth. And this went on for 40 days and for 40 nights. And the ark was lifted up and it floated on the waters. And it kept going up and up, floating on the waters as the waters came up until the waters covered the entire earth. And then it stopped raining, but then Noah and his family had to wait until the waters receded. That means the waters went down. And it took a long time for those waters to come down. And finally, the ark settled back onto dry land as the water went away. But then the earth was still kind of mushy with all the mud from all the water. So Noah had to wait even longer. And after almost a year of being on the ark, God finally said to Noah, it's dry enough. It is time for you and for the animals to leave the ark and to go and to start again. So they opened the ark. Noah and the animals went out, and Noah took some time and he built an altar to God. That's one of the first things that he did. And he prayed to God, and God said to Noah at that time, he said, I am never going to destroy the earth again. I'm never going to flood the earth again. And this is a promise that I'm making to you and to all living animals, that I will never cover the earth again in water. And as a sign of this promise, I'm going to put a rainbow into the sky so that when I see it, and when you see it, it will be a reminder of this promise, a reminder that we have come from a time where only the righteous people survived, but also of my promise that I am not going to destroy the world by water again. Noah then went on, he and his family went out, and they started planting again, and they started doing what God asked them to do, which was to live on the earth as it recovered from the flood. So, that's the story of Noah and the ark. It is a really interesting story. A lot of people love it because it's got animals and it's got, big miraculous things that God is doing. And it's one to think about. And it's one that we will keep exploring in this month ahead. Now, this week, our activity for how we're going to explore it is going to be a little bit of science, where we will have a chance to make our own boats. So, that's all we have for the story part of Sunday school. Now, you and your family can get together and get some things together to do the science activity that we have planned for today. All right, have fun with that. See you soon.